Essential oils for your pet. Are they good or are they bad? Hi, my name is Haley and I'm owner of Arrowhead Bulldogs, and that's kind of what I'd like to talk about today. There's a lot of information out there about whether essential oils are good for your pets or bad for your pets. Some people say it's toxic and to never use them. Some people are avid users. So I just wanted to kind of go into a little bit of a basic breakdown of what I do. Like I said, it's just going to be basic. So I plan on going into more depth on what I do and how I use things later. So feel free to like and subscribe and all that good stuff so you can be notified when I do those things. And of course, I'm going to do a disclaimer because everybody loves a disclaimer. I'm in no way an expert on essential oils. I don't know everything. So don't just take my word for it. Allow this video to be a part of your research as you are discovering whether you want to use them or not. So don't just take this as cut and dry and this is what you should or shouldn't do. But again, use it as part of your research, and hopefully I can give you some things to think about and some directions to look into and maybe some extra resources. So do I use them or do I not? Obviously I do, because I have quite a few set up over here. I use them and I think of them as part of a tool, right? So when you go and you get a tool for whatever type of job that you're working on, let's say you're using a drill or a saw of some kind and you don't use it properly, is it the tool's fault or yours? I mean, let's be real here, it's yours. You have to take those extra precautions to make sure that you're safe. If you're using a saw, that you're not sawing off fingers or going off course, right? Well, in my program, and actually in my way of life, we use essential oils a lot. As you can see, I have a diffuser going and I have some oils set up here. But in general, whether I'm treating my family or my little kids or my pets, I use essential oils and it's part of our daily life. But just like with any tool, if you don't use it correctly, it can go bad. There's most of the bad examples that I have heard are people that don't understand how to use them. Okay, for example, I read an article where this lady put a ton of tea tree oils into a diffuser and left, and when she came home, her dog's eyes were swollen and they had a hard time breathing. Well, you guys have to keep in mind that it takes a lot of whatever plant they're using to make these oils So for example, in this one little bottle of lemon oil, there's approximately 50 lemons. So you're not going to go around and just eat 50 lemons and expect yourself to be super healthy and happy, right? So instead of having to use 50 lemons, you can use 1 or 2 drops of an essential oil. Another one I read was if somebody put it on their skin and then their pet licked them and then they were having all types of issues. So when you're using essential oils, I don't suggest using them internally for your dog or your pet in any case. So that's something to think about. Most of the bad experiences that I've heard of are people they just aren't familiar with it. They don't necessarily understand how potent they are. And that's where a lot of the issues kind of stem from. When you use essential oils, you have to use them responsibly. Again, with a tool, you have to take your proper precautions. So for example, when I'm using essential oils, I'm using a very little amount. When you're using essential oils, the 2 basic ways to use them for your animals, whether it be a cat or a dog, and they're very different, so do your due diligence on your research on how to use them for each animal. The 2 basic ways are topically and aromatically. So you can see I have a diffuser going. So a lot of the times when people have a diffuser going, they feel like they need a ton of oils to be able to really get that scent going or get the desired reaction that they're wanting, and that's not true. For example, in this diffuser here, I have, I think it's 4 drops grapefruit, 3 drops clary sage, and 3 drops peppermint. So it doesn't take a lot, right? You also want to be aware of using a diffuser in too small of a space with your animals. You have to remember there's a big difference in how humans react to things and how dogs react to things. Their sense of smell is so much more intense than ours. So if, say, you want to put 10, 20, 30 drops in something that you think might smell amazing, which by the way is too much, could really affect your dog in a negative way. So keeping it minimal, keeping it safe in an open room can really be beneficial for your pet. You also really want to make sure that you get real oils. I don't represent doTERRA. I don't sell doTERRA. This is just my preference. But as an example, these aren't cheap, right? I use them because I feel like they are very high quality. Again, I've done my research on oils. There's a lot of good oil brands out there. This is just what I prefer. We'll put a link down there so you can kind of check them out. But again, this is just what I like. I like them, and I've noticed too, in doing your research, check out some of these ones that you might find in your local grocery store. A lot of the times, the ones that are cheaper, a lot easier to afford, those actually have a lot of fillers in them. That's why they're cheaper. You might not have a full 50 lemons in your bottle of lemon oil. You might have other things such as formaldehyde. That's not something that you necessarily want when you are using an essential oil. So those are some things to keep in mind. You want to find a really good, pure food grade, if you can afford it, is one of the best ones that you can find. Because if, let's say you did use an essential oil and your dog had a bad reaction from a cheaper oil, are you sure that it's going to be the oil that's causing that issue? Or could it be the fillers that are included in that oil? So those are some things to think about in your research. Consider what types of oils you want to introduce into your home. Like I said, there's many out there. This is just one that I use. Take your time and search for what you want to bring into your house. So I've already mentioned the 2 main ways of using it. One's a diffuser. The other way, topically, a lot of the times there are certain oils that you can use neat, and there are oils that you need to use in a carrier oil. A carrier oil would be something like coconut oil, almond oil, olive oil, things like that. For example, oregano. Oregano is considered a hot oil. So if you were just to put it on your own skin straight, it can actually leave like a red. So you want to be sure that you don't do anything like that to your dog. You want to keep your hot oils diluted. A lot of the times it is suggested with your essential oils, I think the average is for dogs 8 weeks and up, 2 tablespoons carrier oil to 1 to 2 drops of your essential oil. Let me repeat that. 2 tablespoons of your carrier oil to 1 to 2 drops of your essential oil. That's how potent they are. Does that mean that you have to be scared of them? No. Just like with anything, you have to be reasonable, you have to use your common sense, and do your due diligence when it comes to researching whatever it is that you're doing, right? So you just don't go on to the internet and type in that you have a sore throat and do everything that the internet suggests, right? So you want to really look into it and see what's going to work and what doesn't, and make sure that you use it properly. That's one of the biggest things that I can't stress enough, is to use it properly. So for example, I'm not going to go into detail of all of these, but these are just some of my favorite. They have so many uses. You don't have to have a ton of oils to have amazing results. Even if you can only do a couple. The ones that I refuse to go without are lavender, tea tree, frankincense, and On Guard. Different brands have different versions of this. This is actually a blend of a few different ones. It's really to boost the immune system. For example, when I have puppies coming home or a dog has a surgery, I'll put a couple drops of this in the diffuser and help clean the bacteria out of the air. Lavender, it's like the Swiss Army knife of oils. Okay, it's amazing. Frankincense, while expensive, is very healing and can do so many amazing things for so many different issues. And tea tree or melaleuca, again, goes right up there with lavender, has so many amazing benefits. When you're doing your research of what you want to do and what you're thinking about, I highly suggest this book, Spoil Your Pets. My best friend, who's also a breeder, and she's the person that I go to pick her brain, right? Like, she's got so much information in there. I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about that? This was a book that she suggested to me, and I highly suggest it to you. We'll put a link down below, but it really goes into details of what to use, what not to use, how to use it on cats or dogs. It gives you recipes. You can actually look up things by actual ailments and then be like, okay, well, this is what is causing it. This is what I can do to help it. Now, keep in mind, this does not replace your vet. So while I try to do as much as I can holistically, there's a lot that you can't do on your own. I try to do as much of it as I can on my own, just because I feel that medicine has a time and a place, and if you overuse it, it then, in my opinion, becomes ineffective. So I try to do as many things on my own, holistically, as natural as I can, and then when I do need vet assistance, I feel like it is that my dogs respond better. They're not on antibiotics all the time. They have very healthy skin conditions, shampoos. A lot of those things can be helped with a couple of drops of essential oils. And this book really goes into a lot of those things that you can do. But again, there is a time and a place for your vet. So keep in mind, you can't always fix things on your own, and you do need vet assistance. Also, something to keep in mind is that not all vets are all for holistic things. So if you do decide to use essential oils, make sure you know your why. Why you're using them, why you chose that one, not just because some video told you on the internet to use it, or you read it one time and that's what it was, but really understand why you're using it, because that gives you the ability to really help your pet. It helps you understand the chemical reaction. It helps you understand what to expect, how long something might take to heal, or how long it might take for something to be effective. And then when you do go into your vet, you'll have that knowledge. So you don't want to go in and be like, oh, this is what the internet said, here you go. So do your due diligence, do a little bit more research. I hope I gave you like a pretty good basic foundation for this, but please feel free to leave some comments, questions down below, and I try to answer them as much as I can. I'll try to put some links down there, whether it's diffusers that you're interested in. I have a few that I like. I also have ones, like smaller ones that I like to put in some of the smaller areas where the dogs are, and the book, and all that good stuff. So feel free to leave some questions down below, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.